You see this, right? Its art style looks quite old. So take a guess when you think this game came out. 2010s maybe? But no, for those of you who already know, this is called Pizza Tower, and it released in 2023, and it's actually quite popular. But there's just something about this game that screams like an early 2000s TV show. Just looking at this image, it looks like what? And why does it feel like a game that you would have actually played before? Lethal Company is one of them games that seem to recreate this type of retro art style. It makes you not exactly trust your eyes, and makes you glance at things more. And I believe it actually really adds a lot more to the horror factor in the game and nostalgic feeling. People have always felt nostalgia in one way or another. Games such as GTA or Tomb Raider or maybe even the old Sonic games have been remastered a lot. And when you see a game like this coming back, you start to see like these memories kind of flooding back to when you was a child. But this feeling that it gives you when you see old things that you used to play or watch is nostalgia. Now, nostalgia's definition is the wistful desire to return in thought or in fact to a former time in one's life, to one's home or homeland, or to one's family and friends. A sentimental yearning for the happiness of a former place or time as read in the dictionary. I have a love and hate relationship with this feeling. It can affect you because of the smash in the face you get when realizing that the memories you had when you were younger is no longer possible to replicate, and games you used to play are old now. It's truly saddening, but also a good feeling at the same time. But to clarify, you can get this feeling from almost anything. It could be gaming, looking at old photos of yourself or your friends, or old memories, or even music. So it makes sense that games would try to replicate this feeling. I grew up in the era of games where they were already popular, but still around the time where graphics were still kind of choppy, playing games like obviously Crash Bandicoot on the original Xbox, and even later on FIFA 08 and Spelunky on the 360, and obviously Sonic's All-Star Racing. And you can say whatever you want about this game, but genuinely, this is actually a good game. I have some very fond memories playing this when I was younger, and you know, you could say, oh, maybe it's a Mario clone, but I wouldn't say that. And these games are great, even back then with Spelunky. Its music choice, I still think to this day, was absolutely perfect. And I don't know why, but the nostalgia it gives me now is cool. And I'm very happy this game got a second game, at least. But it's very weird how gaming is, and since how long I can remember, it's the one main hobby I have kind of kept. A really weird memory I still have of me is playing the one of the Crash Bandicoot games on the original Xbox, and it's so weird why I still have this memory. But when I think back to it, it feels really nice. It kind of gives me like a weird sense of nostalgia, I guess I could say. And it can be felt in so many different ways, like getting nostalgia on a creator on YouTube you used to watch when you were younger, like Stampy Longnose, or maybe even a favorite character from a show like, I don't know, SpongeBob. But let's get into some examples of games that have been inspired of older gen consoles or times. I mean, take a look at the mod pack for Minecraft called Minecraft PSX, and it's Minecraft but recreated into PS1 graphics. And it really does feel like you are playing a PS1 version of Minecraft, even though I have never touched a PS1. It still looks really nostalgic to me. Even the graphics and just the UI looks like something that'd be on a console of that era. Stardew Valley is a game that I've never played, but being in the streaming space for so long, for such a long time, means that I have been sat there watching Stardew Valley for some time as well. It's a good game, and the art style is really refreshing and seems to have some of the old and new mixed together. And there's countless other games like this that have used this old pixel arty, old kind of art style to create new games or recreations of the older games, like the Resident Evil games, which I've got to say, a very much needed remake, because obviously the shooting in the older games was absolutely awful. But the newer versions still have that charm to them. And I think that says something, because when you compare elements of both the remake and the original for Resident Evil 4, it's quite a bit different. Certain boss fights have been adapted to feel like a modern game, and even some boss fights were removed, like the U3 boss fight, which I think was a good idea as well. It makes the island part of that map a lot more easier to get through quickly. But what they did was they actually added the ability to backtrack and had more puzzles in the game, and I think that's good. That's a good But that is why I believe that remasters and recreations of older games do much better when they change up the original game or source material a little bit. Just adding better graphics and ray tracing isn't enough nowadays. Some people like to see some of the worst parts of that old game fixed or at least changed. But what you would have noticed playing any older game though is that it is extremely scary comparing it to the newer games because of the graphical limitations of that time. Meaning that we have to use kind of like our imagination to kind of fill in the gaps, and gameplay features also not being the best at times, and obviously sometimes very, very eerie music. And it just seems to create a really creepy atmosphere, even if the game wasn't even meant to be horror in the first place. But what happens when that feeling you get is used against you? Now, most modern games seem to use nostalgia as a way to exploit you. Take GTA for example. Everybody was so excited to see the GTA trilogy come out, getting to see their favourite childhood games brought up a notch in graphics and controls, until they realised that the game was an unfinished, buggy, sometimes not even changed mess. And the good thing is, obviously, now you can play this game properly. It's not as bad, or at least from what I've heard. I've not played it myself, but at least they fixed the issues from what I know. Even Fortnite's item shop is preyed on people's nostalgia, with players that used to play back in 2017 being presented with skins in the item shop that were once for the OG players of the game, giving access to a whole nother player base. So this kind of ruins, in my opinion, the cosmetics of Fortnite, as they kind of just really released the skin just to make a ton of money in one day. I mean, yeah, it is what it is. You can't really say anything about it, when they've already got enough of it anyway, though, to be fair. And I was talking to one of my friends, actually unstable about this topic, and he said that there was honestly no point in remastering COD, because no new maps, nothing new, only new graphics. Modern Warfare's COD 4 got remastered in 2016, and Infinite Warfare also came out in 2016. And just because Infinite Warfare did trash quickly, they thought, oh, let us just quickly remaster this old game, and obviously, you know, players will love this. And, you know, I get what he's saying. It does seem shoddy to just publish remasters for the sake of it. And that's not to say that COD 4 Remake was trash. The other thing with Infinite Warfare is you could literally buy the game. I'm pretty sure to actually get the game, you had to get the remaster as well. Like, it came with the remaster. So it also just kind of rubbed off on players a little bit weird. I mean, especially considering you're well, I mean, it's good. You're buying 2 games for 1. But it just seems a bit weird that they're just dragging that game in just to see if they can get more players to get it due to nostalgia reasons, because it's obviously COD 4, one of the original games. Well, with gaming, you're obviously bound to see it a lot, but that feeling you can also get is also felt a lot with found footage or VHS recordings. There's obviously something about these recordings or found footage that looks so nostalgic. Maybe because of the film grain or just the bright colours of everything, but when you see VHS tapes or found footage, it kind of gives you that like sense of uncertainty. Like you have been there before or kind of experienced what is being recorded, and it's a really weird feeling to have. But I believe it's just the colouring and like overall quietness to it. And the fact that most of these were in the 1990s or early 2000s kind of generates some kind of nostalgic feeling. And obviously, analog horror is another reason, or another thing that uses VHS and some old times to kind of their advantage. But this time, it's to create fear. And there's a reason why most TV shows or movies go back to the past to present horror. It's just because they like to put it in a more terrifying light. But enough about this, let's go back onto the main topic, obviously gaming. I wanted to talk about Minecraft as a game in this video because this game is obviously a phenomenon. But this game gives me a crazy sense of nostalgia. It's crazy, right, that the game is already on its 14th year of being out. Like, I remember still watching, like, Stampy and, like, Ballistic Squid and, like, the old Dan TDM video. Like, I still feel like it was not that long ago. Taking a quick look at it, you know, 2 of my most popular shorts / TikToks tells you something, right? 400k views on Stampy Nostalgia and hundreds of comments all talking about their own experiences with nostalgia to do with obviously Stampy. And same thing with MatPat. When he left Game Theory, I also made a video because I also watched MatPat as well. And you know, it was the same. It even got I'm pretty sure it even got more views, which is, you know, crazy, you know. And yet again, a lot of comments were made with their own experiences. I know, like, we are drifting off of Minecraft as a game now. I mean, just listening to the calm melodies of Dry Hands or Mice on Venus, it's just calming, and it gives you that sense of nostalgia, because obviously you listen to this type of music or this music for so many years, and then you come back to it and listen to it, and it brings back all them good memories from playing the games. And it could be this. It's the same thing for any game. You can listen to any music track from any old game or any game you used to play when you were younger, and you will immediately get some weird sense of nostalgia. It's a thing that always happens, and you can't escape from it. No matter what, it will always be here. But nostalgia as a term is used so much now that I believe that every now and again it's misused, because nostalgia can kind of alter or distort your recollections. I mean, it kind of goes back to the old caveman days where people are only going to remember the stuff that was obviously dangerous or good. And I would say that obviously social media lockdown and everything going on in the world at the moment has some part to blame for the reach for nostalgia, even more than ever before. And I was reading this article that talked about Gen Z and the rise of nostalgia, and I wanted to share some of it. Maybe nostalgia isn't just an escape, it's a response to what's missing. While we're surrounded by options and technology that connects us more than ever, this hyper-connected world can also feel fragmented and detached. With everything seemingly for sale, it's difficult to find meaning in what's organic and real. Capitalism's endless drive for progress and consumption can make our lives feel driven by metrics, achievements, and aesthetics, rather than genuine connection or fulfillment. In revisiting the past, we find a grounding sense of authenticity, a bridge between eras that give us a safe place to recharge, and a glimpse of life outside the pressures of the modern world. For Gen Z, nostalgia offers a way to cope with today's complex pressures and to hold on to a vision of simpler times. It's no surprise then that even in this age of endless innovation, the past still feels like home. Now, I can see how nostalgia is a rising thing nowadays, and it's a pretty good article that talks about the rise of the word and usage of it. So if you want to take a look at the whole thing, you can check it out in the description down below. But I see the point in the whole thing. Nostalgia is not just an escape, it's a response. And with life, for everyone getting a bit hectic at times, it's always good to remember the past and kind of take a break every now and again. But when it turns to thinking about the past was actually better than it is now, a lot of us say it in gaming nowadays because we've, still have these memories with the older games, like when you first discovered Minecraft for the first time, or a Banjo-Kazooie game. But when you go to the present, you may not know it just yet, but you are already kind of creating memories that you will think about in the next 15 years from now, and be like, that's nostalgic. If we only say the past was better, we forget about how far games have kind of come. Massive open worlds, like we got online co-op, and even driving with an actual wheel in games now, which I actually kind of want to try that out at some point, but it's okay to have nostalgia about the past. It kind of shaped us into who we are now, or who we are today, but we shouldn't stop it from seeing the good in gaming as it is now, and I think you could remember this in all forms of life. I've also been thinking about nostalgia a lot more recently. I started making this video, and I don't know how I forgot to mention as well, but Little Big Planet, great game, and both 1 and 2 are so nostalgic to myself, and probably a lot of you watching it as well. I also want to mention the old Ratchet and Clank games, and there's obviously hundreds that I haven't forgot to mention in the video, but yeah, that's all I've got, and that's all I'm going to say in this video. So obviously, please subscribe. It's taken me so long to make and edit this video and script this video as well, and yes, I do script my videos, but yeah, and like, as it would help me out loads. Yeah.